the coordination.
Yeah,
it's really the way they all know their roles and they play them so effectively.
Right.
So as we get set for our second set of elimination matches, it'll be the blue-ringed Octolings from Australia/New Zealand taking on Deadbeat from the USA. Let's take a closer look at Deadbeat and their journey here.
Team Deadbeat, the U.S. representative in the 2017 Splatoon 2 World Inkling Invitational. Their combined skill set is a culmination of years of practice, truly masters of the game.
Splatoon's a fun game, it's fast-paced, it's exciting. I've been playing since the launch, which was about 2 years ago, and I just kept playing because I couldn't find any other game that interested me. There's a lot of depth in the game.
What I really like about my team is that they're willing to put in the work to get better.
I just love Nintendo games, I love shooters, so naturally I love Splatoon.
Honestly, it's just a fun little game I play in my free time.
Beautiful. These are the moments that make the Splatoon community so wonderful. You can feel the emotion. These four teammates get to know each other. The world waits with bated breath to see if they will bring the ink.
Deadbeat, the winners of the 2017 Splatoon US Inkling Open. And Eric, we just got done watching the NBA Finals yesterday.
We did.
Golden State Warriors go 16-1 throughout the playoffs. Deadbeat, they go 16-1 throughout the US Inkling Open, so it shows you how dominant of a team they were in North America.
Absolutely. You know, going into this tournament, I was like, man, Deadbeat all the way. And, you know, we'll see what happens. I mean, I was kind of surprised in the opening rounds, actually, how some of those matches went. But, you know, anything can happen.
But you know, Witt says he learns from watching his own mistakes, and Tim loves tower control, and I mean, Hexen loves splat zones. So this is a team that I think is really excited to get into this next round and really get out there and have some chances to do something in different modes.
Yeah, Eric, Golden State goes 16-1, Deadbeat goes 16-1. No word on if Kevin Durant will join Deadbeat in the offseason, though. But as we get set for tower control here,
you and your sports ball jokes.
Teams have done such a good job of being able to push the tower forward, but also ink the territory in front of them. And it comes down to that core principle, territory control. What are some of the things these teams are looking for as they're moving the tower and they want to make sure they give a path for their team?
They're really looking forward to make sure there's no threats, is what it is. I mean, if you can wipe out the threats and then jump onto the tower, you're free and clear to proceed as you want.
Deadbeat taking on the blue-ringed Octolings and our 2 versus 3 best of 5. We're going to start with some tower control on Starfish main stage. And this is one of those maps that we've talked about here, Ashley, where now that the tower's moving, it's not so much about dominating the middle of the stage, but understanding the track that the tower moves on.
Yeah, you've got to know these maps inside and out. And these players don't really know them inside and out. They haven't had a terribly long amount of time to sort of learn the map. So, but they do, I think they're going to do just fine here.
Blue-ringed Octolings in the yellow, Deadbeat in the blue, so try to keep that one straight. Blue-ringed Octolings with the Splatter Shot Pro, the Charger, the Roller, the Octo Brush. Meanwhile, Deadbeat with that heavy Splatling, 2 splatter shots and a Charger. Nobody's claimed the tower yet, excuse me. Blue-ringed Octolings moving it to 98. 3-2 advantage on the field for them. And there goes Deadbeat in the blue, riding the tower. They're going to take the early lead as they approach the first checkpoint here, Ashley.
Yeah, and Hexen's going right there after Latias, trying to get that Charger out of the way so that Tim can ride that tower and hold it through those checkpoints.
Tim on the tower, advancing it to the second checkpoint, avoids the Stingray. Very nice job of him to hop off the tower, but then get back on before it resets. Meanwhile, using the middle pillar of that tower to avoid some damage. Wonderful move by Tim to hop off the tower and flank the Roller.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to jump off the tower and defend, especially if your teammates are nowhere to be found. Now we are watching quite the effort by blue-ringed Octolings. They are pushing forward. They have gone onto their side.
I heard a pachink. I love the pachink. Blue-ringed Octolings getting the tower to the first checkpoint, almost to the first checkpoint. However, that's going to get returned, so they still have to go back to that one. They didn't clear it. Meanwhile, Hexen trying to just get as much of the turf covered as he avoids an auto bomb, using those splat bombs, create a little bit of ink to move around, had the splash down, charge ready to go, but no! Latias with an unbelievable charge shot from afar.
So good with those charge shots. That's the thing you're going to see on main stage. You're going to see a lot of charging action. You're going to see a lot of POV, a lot of high ground advantage, no matter if you're on the tower or somewhere else on the map.
Wit using the sprinkler after the splashdown to seize control of the tower. It's going to return back to normal. Nobody claiming that in the middle quite yet. Meanwhile, Deadbeat trying to get a little bit of a push into blue-ringed Octoling territory. Hexen going to back up. Oh, there's a surprise Stingray that you avoid. Very nice avoidance by Hexen. Dealing with a little bit of pain. Just ink coming down from the Slosher right now. Meanwhile, SpongeBob going to get splatted right there. And there is that ink storm right now on the field.
The rain is coming down. They want to keep them out. But you know what? It didn't work. And Hexen, though, getting taken off the tower, so it's just sitting there all by itself, waiting for somebody like Bicky Bird to come in and jump on and take it over.
Bicky Bird riding the tower. It goes back to the middle. However, Tim's going to get splatted by Bicky Bird and that Octo Brush. Bicky Bird trying to do some work. An Inkjet ready to go whenever she wants it, making sure to cover some territory, though, Ashley, not just rushing straight to that tower. That's
right. So because they want to have these exit lanes, especially because there's so much toxic mist going around, you want to make sure that the ground is covered before you start making your push to get on the tower, because that toxic mist is gonna hurt, and also it's gonna slow you down. It's gonna take down your ink.
We talked about the leverage flanking points that you can take in the middle of this stage as Power using that heavy splatling to get the splat from above, and now Deadbeat back on the tower. They want to push it to the second checkpoint and increase their lead over blue-ringed Octolings.
Yeah, you can see Power is actually just inking all of the areas in which blue-ringed Octolings can find a way in.
Hexen misses a chance to flank a blue-ringed Octoling. However, Deadbeat gonna try and advance it to the second checkpoint. They're almost through it. However, 2 seconds left on that checkpoint. That's critical.
They make it. That was a huge clear.
Won't stop next time. 130 left, 4-3 advantage on the field. 3 specials. They're going to the third checkpoint. What do they have to do here, Ashley, to get past?
They've got to defend, and it looks like they're doing a really good job. Maddie Kuma gets stuck inside that ink storm. I mean, the toxic mist is so tough to survive, and there's the game.
And Deadbeat riding the tower, able to avoid a couple of flanking opportunities from blue-ringed Octolings. And we talk about the teamwork, making sure you communicate and you have your teammates there to help clear the way for the tower.
That's right. Sometimes if you're not communicating, you might not even know. If you're the designated lane pusher, you might not even know the tower's so close to the end of the game. And so to be able to say, oh gosh, hey guys, we all got to come back. That's tough. Especially when they're really pushing that tower pretty fast.
We saw Deadbeat really get that initial lead, and Eric, there wasn't really a lot of opportunities that match for the blue-ringed Octolings to kind of get past that first checkpoint, and that's the variable of checkpoints now. You don't just get 4 open lanes of freeway to ride that tower. You've got to stop and slow down, and when you stop and slow down, you expose your team.
Absolutely. That's where you need to really rely on the rest of your team to be doing the splatting so you have time to get past those checkpoints. You saw Wit there with something like 10 or 11 splats. I mean, that was absolutely huge.
Wit with 11 splats and assists to go along with it. That results board will also show you how many specials were used, so that also gives you an idea of how often you were staying on the field, not getting splatted, charging that special meter. And we talk about some of the different abilities that these players are equipping, and a lot of them sometimes using that special charge up, but a lot of them focusing on mobility as well too.
Yeah, I mean, like the mobility, I think, for tower control is more important than the specials. I think obviously Toxic Mist is a really strong special in tower control. I mean, it's so powerful. I think we're going to see that a lot in the competitive scene. But yeah, mobility, being able to jump on the, get on the tower, ride the side of the tower, jump off the tower and defend, get back on the tower. I mean, if you are really good at being mobile and jumping and avoiding and dodging, especially chargers like Latias, you're in good shape.
Well, we saw that a lot of Stingrays being deployed, and these players doing a fine job of avoiding them, and you see them coming from surprise angles as well too, so very impressive. And so as we get set for this match, we're going to have splat zones on Muscle Forge Fitness, and we talk about that rock climbing pyramid in the middle of this map. And a lot of times, do you think that this is going to be a map, just like we saw in Inkblot Art Academy here, Eric, where you're going to want to stay at the highest point of this map to have a vantage point, even though the splat zone's there?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, having that elevation on everyone basically allows you to effectively communicate with the rest of your team, call out positions of enemies and everything else.
And as we've continued to talk about Deadbeat and the decision by Power, he's so well known in North America for his ability with the Charger. However, I saw him in the elevator this morning. He said, I think I'm going to go with that heavy Splatling, and that just goes to show you how adaptable these players can be, Ashley.
Yeah, I mean, and he's a long-range player, and the heavy Splatling is a long-range weapon, so he's still driving around the same neighborhood. He's not living at the same house, but he's in the same neighborhood.
Let's get you started with action here. Blue-ringed Octolings in the green, Deadbeat in the blue, SpongeBob getting some work done, and an early control of the splat zone for the blue-ringed Octolings. However, it's going to be re-seized by Deadbeat, and you see the 4-second penalty applied. Yeah,
that penalty can be really painful if you get really close to the end here and then lose the zone. But you can see it's only 4 seconds right now.
Deadbeat with the zone, their loadout, you've got 2 splatter shots, a slosher, and a heavy splatling. Meanwhile, blue-ringed Octolings, they're down 4-2 on the field right now. They've got a couple of splatter shots, a charger, and an octo brush as Matty Kuma trying to get the one-on-one against Hexen, but no, Hexen getting some help from Tim, and there's that communication, Ashley, calling out where you're at and asking for some backup.
Absolutely, and honestly, I love that splashdown. Oh, I love it.
SpongeBob with the splashdown, 40-96, 4 minutes left in this one, 41-96. Now let's get that timer rolling again for Deadbeat as they have built a sizable lead early in this one, 4-3 advantage for the team from North America. Meanwhile, they've got the majority of that splat zone coverage. You can see that on that icon up top, 20-96, and for Deadbeat is kind of what we saw on Inkling Art Academy, sitting at the top and forcing everyone away from the zone.
Indeed, and once you have that splat zone, as you can see right now, it is hard to take back.
3, 2, and 1, and that will do it in decisive fashion. Nice, tidy work by Deadbeat. Valiant effort by blue-ringed Octolings in that map, but Deadbeat really seems to be on the same page now, Ashley, and dialed in.
Yeah, they're dialed in. I mean, that was the thing we talked about. I mean, maybe there's a little bit of tournament jitters. You got to get out, right? So it's nervous. You guys are looking fresh today. You guys are staying fresh out in the audience. That could be it's a little scary playing in front of so many people. Thank you.
Well, we talked about the 16-1 record Deadbeat had in the U.S. Inkling Open. Their only loss in a match was Turf War. They went undefeated through all the other ranked matches, and so now that we've seen them in tower control and splat zones, they've really done a fine job of holding it down, Eric.
Absolutely. One thing I want to point out really quick is that when the game is released, you can actually use the spectator mode that I'm using in private battles yourself. So you can, if people out there, if you want to host your own tournaments, you can actually use this to kind of follow the action with the camera.
And if you practice enough, you might be as good as Eric.
Yeah, Eric's doing a fine job with that camera work, giving a chance to really see where both the teams are. So right now, you've got Deadbeat with the 2-0 advantage. If they get this victory, it's a sweep of the blue-ringed Octolings, and they'll take on Dynamo. However, blue-ringed Octolings, they've played very solidly, just couldn't really swing the momentum these last 2 ranked matches. We've got Rainmaker now. If you're the blue-ringed Octolings, what do you want to focus in on as you get set for this match that'll be played at Inkling Art Academy?
I mean, I think I would expect Latias to have a charger. I would imagine that is going to be a very key part of their strategy to try to pick off people who try to run up and take the Rainmaker away. I definitely want to see more. I definitely want to see more slosher action from Wit. But if they can neutralize, I think, a slosher, and also I think if they can stay away from Power's heavy splatling, they might be in good shape here.
Let's get set for our 3rd match in this best of 5 between Deadbeat and blue-ringed Octolings. Octolings inking for their squid lives as they are down 2-0. Meanwhile, Deadbeat tried to get the sweep and move on to the finals against Dynamo. Deadbeat going to be in the magenta. They're going to be with a loadout of 2 splatter shots, a slosher and a heavy splatling. Meanwhile, the blue-ringed Octolings in the turquoise. You've got a splatter shot, octobrush, splatter shot pro, and a charger to get things started. Let's take a look at SpongeBob. SpongeBob trying to go around, get the flank on Hexen. Fine job right there.
Done.
And that's going to be a bursted Rainmaker shield, and off to the races is blue-ringed Octolings early in this one.
Yeah, and you're going to see Matty Kuma working that Rainmaker, but also SpongeBob making that lane, getting ahead. You can see right up there, making a lane, trying to make things happen for Matty Kuma, make it a little bit easier for her to get some splats.
In a lot of these maps with Rainmaker, you are rewarded for going vertical. However, Deadbeat getting the fine splat on the Rainmaker, that's going to reset it back near the middle, though. Not a whole lot of push on the length of the map acquired by Blue Ringed Octolings right there. They have the 72-0 advantage, 4-3 on the field for Deadbeat this time.
Yeah, I think they've tried twice to get up this this map here, and it's not working out too well for them. So I think maybe the next time they pick up the Rainmaker, we're going to see a little bit of a different strategy.
Rainmaker up for grabs, nobody quite ready to grab it yet, and you want to make sure, Ashley, a lot of times we're seeing these teams show a lot of patience as far as not approaching the goal, the result, the most important thing of this map until they make sure that they've got turf covered where they need to go.
Absolutely, and right now you're seeing Hexen trying to make a splashdown over on Latias because that's a key person to keep away from shooting at the Rainmaker.
Witt's going to pick up the Rainmaker and go along the side in some area that has not been explored by Ink quite yet. However, the Blue Ringed Octolings converge on Witt and get the splat by the Stingray, 83-66. Rainmaker in one of those tight little corners, so expect a lot of action right there, Ashley.
Yeah, Latias really taking that long-range Stingray. She's at the spawn point.
3-3 on the map right now as the Blue Ringed Octolings going to purposefully, though, hop into the water. Why would they do that there, Ashley?
You hop in the water, you reset the Rainmaker. It
That's
goes right back to the middle.
It moves there instantly, and so it's much quicker to just go ahead and sacrifice the squid and get that Rainmaker back in the middle. Right now, we see a lot of the action at the top of the map, but here comes Deadbeat Witt with that Rainmaker. Oh, and great defense by Blue Ringed Octolings, doing a fine job of sort of reading where Deadbeat wanted to go with that Rainmaker.
Absolutely. I think that was the exact opposite of where they tried to go with the Rainmaker, and so I think both teams trying to take the same strategy, but you know, without that slosher, Witt was the one carrying that Rainmaker. Without that slosher, that is tough to move forward.
And Deadbeat going to move into the lead, 55-66 by seizing the Rainmaker right there. SpongeBob going to go ahead and get the splat. And Ashley, sometimes we see these matches that are so back and forth, it's all about getting that critical extra 5 or 10 points to your score to get the advantage when you run out of time.
It is. This is really close, and I think if Blue Ringed Octolings can move it just 10 more points, they'll be right there with them. And we have 2 minutes left, so anything can happen.
Once again, you see the patience by Blue Ringed Octolings. They're going to go ahead and let that Rainmaker reset and just make sure they don't let anybody get behind them. Latias with that Charger doing a fine job of not giving up the back end to their team.
Really great job of keeping an eye on all of Deadbeat, making sure no one can get around back and splat her teammates. That's the last thing you want.
And Witt being patient, trying to make sure they've got an advantage on the field. A couple specials ready to go. It's now 3-3, 3 specials on the field for Deadbeat. Here come a couple of tens of missiles raining down on the Blue Ringed Octolings. No splat there. Oh, there's a splat. However, Tim gets it on Matty Kuma. We've got 2-2 on the field. Minute 30 left, 55-66 advantage. Deadbeat, they're trying to burst that Rainmaker shield. And you notice there's an ink-proof ramp right there. That's going to slow things down, Ashley.
Yeah, you're going to be popping up from that and having to walk up, which is really tough to do if you have the Rainmaker.
66-55 advantage. Deadbeat, 116 left, 2-2 on the field at this point. Matty Kuma trying to keep Deadbeat away from that Rainmaker. Latias just going to go and try and get it out of there, feeling the pressure from Deadbeat. Deadbeat putting some pressure. Tim with the critical splat. Tim with 2 critical splats right there. And the splashdown. That could be huge to help Deadbeat. Deadbeat going for the slam dunk. However, it's going to get stopped by Blue Ringed Octolings. 55 seconds left. And Tim with an incredible individual effort to help push that Rainmaker.
It might have been a little bit of a, maybe a little bit of a mistake for Latias to take the Rainmaker and actually be hesitant and move backwards because she actually brought it closer to the goal.
Rainmaker shield going to get Hexen, and Matty Kuma's going to have to move quickly with that Rainmaker. Oh, getting some communication on the map saying, this way, let's go. I've got an avenue for you. And Blue Ringed Octolings trying to go, but no, getting flanked by Tim. Tim coming from behind, getting the splat. 24 seconds left, 66-15. Deadbeat with the advantage. A victory here gives them the sweep, allows them to move on to the finals against Dynaview. A couple specials ready to go for Deadbeat. 13 seconds left. Let's finish this one out here. Deadbeat, all they have to do is play some defense, protect that Rainmaker at all costs. However, SpongeBob has a chance to force this thing into overtime. SpongeBob has to bust the shield. Can they do it in time? Yes, we're headed to overtime, 66-15, but no!
Oh, they at the last second.
Deadbeat.
At the last second.
Able to secure it at the end. Blue Ringed Octolings, wonderful effort.
Really,
they had a chance to force it into overtime, but Deadbeat was sitting there ready to take advantage. And Deadbeat, after stubbing their tentacles a couple times in the round robin play, a clean, methodical sweep as they get set to take on Dynaview in the finals.
Yeah, I mean, you know, really, honestly, great level of play in this last game. You saw the top splats and assists from both teams, 14 and 13.
Yeah.
I mean, it was right there.
I actually think that Blue Ringed Octolings had more overall splats that match, but they just weren't able to effectively push the Rainmaker.
To convert, yeah.
And you mentioned that, and Deadbeat really coming down to that double splat that Tim had. And it was so
It's a big
critical.
moment.
They were deep into blue ring Octoling territory. They were pushing. We saw Latias grab the Rainmaker, and we look at a couple replays of this match, highly contested. Our first match that wasn't a knockout in this elimination mode. So here's Tim. Latias with the Rainmaker, trying to back up, keep some space from Tim, misses with the shot. Tim gonna get 1 splat on Latias, 2 splats on SpongeBev, and at that point, with this splashdown, that's gonna create so much ink for Deadbeat to push it forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely that last bit of time there where Latias has always, in Rainmaker mode, and also we saw in Tower Control, really doing a great job of crowd control, getting the opponent away from whatever the objective is. And so when Latias has the Rainmaker, who's doing crowd control? You know, it's tough. That's a tough moment to make as anybody with a charger, especially if you're running support and you're like, oh my gosh, it's right there. Should I go get it or should I hold back? And it's just, that's a choice you make in the game. It's that split-second decision.
Impressive performances in the first round of elimination by both Dynamew and Deadbeat. Let's take a look at the bracket as we get set for the final round at the 2017 Splatoon World Inkling Invitational. Dynamew, the champions from Japan, conquered over 900 teams. Deadbeat, meanwhile, really starting to find their footing. What will happen? Stick around after the break. We'll get you set for the finals as 2 teams battle it out at the 2017 Splatoon World Inkling Invitational.